What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Best of the West. I am your host tonight, Jake Thomas, and as you can see, our good friend and pal Kevin is back. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Doing a lot better. I appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for you and Steven for holding down the fort while I was out a little under the weather the last 3 or 4 weeks. This pandemic is no joke, and we're getting past it. So we're a lot better now that football's about to start. We got some good things to talk about tonight, and it's good to be back.
Absolutely, man. And as you guys keep rolling in here, I'd like to point out that as you can see, we have a chat option tonight. So come on in the chat, give us some questions, give us some answers. We'll either answer it, comments, whatever you'd like to talk about. We'll be glad to talk about it as well. And also want to point out that we are being sponsored by BetOnline.ag. So anyway, Kevin, if you are ready to start, we'll get on with the show, man. That like you had mentioned, classes have started, which means football is just mere days away. So I'm super excited. I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, might have been last week, around my area where I live at in Alabama, high school football is very, 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 very high on the
Oh yeah.
spectrum. So I don't know how it is in Arkansas, but here, man, it started last week for us. So we was glad to have that around here. So we did finally get our taste of football. But
Yeah,
how's your way?
they're rocking and rolling here. They went to a week zero start, I think 3 years ago. So there's 11 weeks of the regular season. You get to take one of the non-conference weeks off. So week zero starts Friday, well, actually Thursday, here in Arkansas. Got some really good matchups, up and down the classifications, 2A through 6A. It's going to be an exciting season. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, we talk about classes starting, and that's when everything kind of gets real, especially for these freshmen that get on campus. And that's one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight was what does a freshman have to go through? Okay, it's one thing, and now you can enroll early, so that's really good. You get to go through a semester of college before you really have to get after it. I know when they step on campus, their job is to play, start, and do as much as they can to contribute to the program. But it's different. It's a different routine. It's something that you really have to train. And there's always seems to be a little dip, no matter the team. Everybody seems to lose focus about this time of the year when classes start. The heat's there. It's been hot in Arkansas. It's been 96, 97. Imagine it's like that in Alabama too.
Yes, it's the heat has reigned supreme, especially in the month of August. But yeah, that's usually when the guys finally get back on the field, and that's usually when it's the hottest. So, most of the time, a lot of the guys who have come out of summer not in shape, you learn real quick on who that is because they're struggling, during the heat and stuff. But you're right. Freshmen finally get on the field and they finally get a taste of what it's like, being on campus of a college level. But to me, it's different on an SEC, campus.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I mean there's no greater football out there than the SEC without a doubt, and it's just different down here. But I'm glad to see it starting back. It got a lot of freshmen I'm ready to see on multiple teams this year. All throughout the nation to see how they step up for their teams. But back home, back here in Alabama, we've got several freshmen that I'm looking forward to seeing, especially on the wide receiver side. Because we talked about we just got Mechie and Bolden returning, and after that, it's wide open. So it's going to be interesting to see who the freshmen step up there. But we'll talk more about that when we get to the Alabama Arkansas portions.
Yeah, and I know we didn't have it on the bottom of the screen. We're talking about classes starting, but class starting. Also, polls start coming out. The AP poll came out last week. Of course, Alabama's up at the top. But another thing that came out today was the coaches' SEC team. First, second, third team voted on by the coaches. And not really too many surprises. This may be a homer take, but Dalen Catalon was named second team AP All-American preseason, but second team All-Conference. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. To no one's surprise, Matt Corral, first team All-SEC quarterback. Then you got Isaiah Spiller, Tank Bigsby. I think we'll both agree that those are the two right picks on that, considering what they did last year to just about everybody. Wide receivers, Alabama and Arkansas represented Treylon Burks, John Mechie, the third. Don't want to leave that off of there.
Right.
So, and then the tight end, Jalen Wiedemeyer from Texas A&M. He's projected to be a top round draft pick next year. And then the offensive lineman, Evan Neal, Alabama, Darian Kennard, Kentucky, Kenyon Green, A&M, Cade Mays, Tennessee. And then a center, Ricky Stromberg from Arkansas, who is back practicing with the team now. He had been out with a strained MCL. Wasn't too bad. That happened a couple weeks ago. We were lucky to get him back. And then if you look at the first team defense, Kingsley Ingabar, South Carolina, Jordan Davis, Florida, or from Georgia, Zachary Carter from Florida, Fedarian Mathis, Alabama. Those are the defensive linemen. Linebackers, Christian Harris, Grant Morgan, and Will Anderson, the Alabama trio. And then the defensive backfield, Derek Stingley, widely thought of from LSU as a top 10 overall draft pick in next year's draft. Kyra Elam from Florida, Malachi Moore, Alabama, and then Josh Jobe from Alabama as well. No surprise there with Malachi Moore. He's been a mainstay in that Alabama secondary. Alabama's defense very well represented here. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6. Talk to us about that, Jake. And is this Alabama defense going to – okay, I'll rephrase that. No SEC team, I saw this stat today, finished in the top 50 of pass defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to think about, especially since defense is top. That's what SEC made their money on.
Right.
Is Alabama going to be better on defense this year?
I mean, I have said it from day one. I believe Alabama's going to have to rely on their defense the first couple of games, at least until the offense finally gets their feet under them. I mean, we got to replace a quarterback, running back, three linemen. So it's going to be a struggle for a few games, but I believe they'll be fine. But defensively, I'm not worried one bit. I mean, we're stacked everywhere defensively. I mean, defensive line is deep. Linebackers, since we got Teoto, is deep.
He was on second team defense.
Yeah, and of course secondary's deep. But was there no Ole Miss defenders on there? I see
no Ole Miss defenders on the first or second team, and then I didn't look at third team preseason. Jarian Ely from Ole Miss was the third team running back. He and Brian Robinson Jr. tied. Of course, they do not break ties in the coaches' preseason poll. So Nick Broker was also on the offensive line from Ole Miss for our guys out there in the chat that were looking. So, no Ole Miss defenders yet. Maybe this year, like Steven and I talked about when we were previewing Arkansas, if they finish in the top 60 overall on defense, 1, you're going to have people on all SEC team. 2, you'll probably be playing in a New Year's Six Bowl.
You're going to be 10-2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and also the question about Matt Corral, he's the number one quarterback in the SEC, but not even top 50 nationally. That is a joke.
Yeah,
I mean, Corral is he had his moments last year, especially against Arkansas where he threw 6 interceptions. But other than that, he was lights out. So I believe he's going to get recognized this year. So all you guys out there Ole Miss fans, don't worry about that. He's going to get his due this year for sure nationally.
Yeah, I mentioned on our podcast, on the Hog Talk podcast last week, I would be very surprised and shocked if Matt Corral throws 6 interceptions again against Arkansas, especially since it's in Oxford this year. I'm not oblivious to that. I know how good the guy is.
Yeah.
I think it's got the potential to be a high-scoring affair. It was 30 to 21, 22 last year. It won't be that this year. I think we're going to have a shootout on our hands down at the Grove. So, what else is going on in Alabama right now? Any injury updates? How's the quarterback situation look? What's the latest?
Yeah, pretty much Bryce, of course, is going to be QB1.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of talk about Jalen Milroe. He has had a really good camp. So he may be trying to break in to that number 2 role behind Bryce. But he's such a gifted athlete. I don't think he can keep on the field. So he's going to play some this year. One of the things I was told yesterday that I found surprising, well, not really surprising because he's a great talent, but Jace McClellan will probably get about half of the first string running back duties this year. He has pushed Brian Robinson this spring. Brian Robinson's still going to be really good, I believe. But what's interesting about that, I don't know if y'all caught. It's been a few weeks ago now on our show, Tide Talk Sport or Tide Talk podcast. I did like a SEC bowl predictions, and one of my bowl predictions was I believe Alabama has 2 running backs that rush for over 750 yards this year. I believe that's going to be McClellan and Brian Robinson. So if that happens, Alabama's going to be tough to beat. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, but. Injury wise, there's not really a lot of injury news. Randolph is a tackle. He probably, more than likely it hurt him not playing the second scrimmage. Might have lost his chance of being the right tackle.
Yeah,
starting out. And then of course the weird what's going on with Billingsley. That's another thing going on right now. I don't know. Sounds like he's in the doghouse with Saban.
Yeah. Just do your job. Do what you're asked to do. It's easy to play for Nick Saban.
Yeah, right.
I don't get it. I mean, he is black and white as you can get. Do your job, do what's asked of you, and you're fine.
Right. And I hate it for the kid. I mean, we have 2 talented tight ends, where the 2 in Billingsley, but Billingsley was probably going to start, and we can also put him out at the slot to cause some mismatches, but I don't know what his status will be game 1, against Miami with this going on. I hope he gets it together because he's an incredible athlete, and I would hate to lose him. But I mean, like Saban said, this is not a democracy. You listen to me, and that and do what you're told, and everything will be fine.
Yeah. We did have a question: who wins the A&M QB job? Mm-hmm. Right now, both Haynes King and Zach Calzada are both taking first team snaps. Jimbo Fisher has been non-committal, and as of last Friday, he said they're in a really, really good situation. So just to answer your question on that, it's a neck and neck race right now. It really doesn't matter who's at quarterback for A&M because they have a powerful running game. Their defense is one of the best in the nation. So, and they think they can contend for a national title. First one since 1939. You look at what happened last year. They were one-loss team and could have been right there at the end. I think a lot of people have, and hindsight's always 20/20. We always look back and say, "Oh, they didn't get the right 4 teams." So usually, there's only 2 teams that need to be there. The BCS showed us that. I'm glad you agree with me on that.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and that leads us to, and I know we're a little off topic here, but it all relates, I promise.
Yes.
But everybody going to a 12-team playoff. Does it really benefit? This is not Cinderella foot or basketball or baseball with a Fresno State winning a College World Series or Virginia Military Institute making it to the Final Four or Loyola Chicago. It's every year the best 4 or 6 teams are right there at the end. Sometimes somebody sneaks up there, gets in contention for it. But let's face it, right now it's a 4-team race, and maybe it's only a 2-team race this year. It's going to be interesting. Of course, there's a lot of unknowns out there, a lot of question marks. Who takes over at quarterback for at Ohio State, at Clemson? Of course, we know who's at Clemson. DJ's at Clemson. But Alabama, the top 3 teams in the nation, have a new quarterback. And then you have Oklahoma as well, who has Spencer Rattler. So the whole alliance thing that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the ACC were talking about putting together, to make sure that they vote out the SEC with all the political stuff that they have. Toot your own horn, do what you want to. The national title is still going to run through the South. I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree 100%, Kevin. You hit the nail on the head. I have said since they started talking about that 12-team playoff, I'm on record saying it. You're going to have potentially, and it's funny that they want to do this because they hate the SEC so much, but you pretty much guaranteeing that potentially 3 or 4 SEC teams will be in it every single year, without a doubt.
Yeah,
and I do not believe, and the counterpoint that I've heard is, well, it's more football. Okay, and I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that, but
they added an NFL game this year.
Yeah, but my point is, like, one of the matchups that they talked about was like, if how it played out, we could have seen Coastal Carolina playing Alabama. Okay.
Good luck.
By halftime, I would be asleep because it'd be 48-0 probably. And I would be so uninterested in it. I love Alabama football, but that is a snooze fest.
Yeah.
So I mean, you added more teams, but Alabama versus the 15th team in the nation, Alabama's going to probably win 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
No matter who it is. But if they're playing the number 2 team, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, those are your 4 teams. Alabama 4 teams going to be in every year.
You just said Notre Dame. Notre Dame hadn't won a BCS game since a BCS was in existence. You get the thumbs down on that. I know. We did have a question.
But they're in it every year.
There you go. Talk about the Arkansas-Texas game, what it means to this state.
Yes.
A lot of people here think we have a chance to beat Texas, and that would put us at our 6-win mark, assuming that we could beat Mississippi State and Auburn. I think we go 6-6, and we'll talk about it here in a minute before we wrap up of what we think how the West is going to shake up this year. But obviously it's bigger in Arkansas than it is in Texas. A lot of my generation, I'm 40 years old. I grew up when we were in the Southwestern Conference for the first 10 years of my life, so I know about the rivalry. I've been to the Texas games. I was at the Cotton Bowls where Clint Sterner, we beat them 27-6. In 2000, and then I was at the Texas Bowl in Houston where we beat them 31-7. But it is bigger for Arkansas right now, and as it should be. We are not in a spot to where we cannot have that be a big game. That's going to be a landmark win for Sam Pittman, even though he had 3 SEC wins last year, and that's 3 times as many as we had the previous 2 years under Chad Morris. But that is a win on a coaching resume, especially for somebody as young as Sam Pittman, that will kickstart his career as a head coach. So we're really looking forward to it the second week. I'll know after week 1 if we have a shot. If I see separation from Rice and we take care of business, I think the line is like 21 right now, 20-21. We should take care of that easily. By no means do I think that game should be close. So I think it's big for Arkansas right now. Yeah, hopefully it develops into a better rivalry like it used to be. I don't think it will, but it's just the way of college football is right now. Arkansas wrapped up their preseason scrimmage, fall camp, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday with their last scrimmage. Most of the starters, KJ Jefferson at quarterback, didn't get a whole lot of reps, which allowed Malik Hornsby to show what he can do. He is the second-year dual threat quarterback from Texas, and he showed his ability. He had an 80-yard touchdown run, a 9-yard touchdown run, then had 2 TD passes as well, 1 for 45 and 1 for 15. He has he is taking a hold on the backup job right there, and there will be some packages for him. We're not looking at a 2-quarterback system at Arkansas. but we will have some packages for Malik Hornsby. The running back situation, Traylon Smith had been hurt over the past week with turf toe. He was back at practice today. That allowed Rocket Sanders to take over the backup running back position, which, as we all know in the SEC, you need good 2 or 3 backs to have a really good ground game. At one point, Alabama had 6 first-round draft picks on their roster, I think, with Kamara, T.J. Yeldon, Derrick Henry. I mean, it was just loaded. Mark Ingram, I think that 09-10 season.
Yeah.
Scary.
Scary.
But running back situation is good. Rocket Sanders is there, 6'2", 220 freshman. He came in as an athlete, played a lot of receiver in high school. They put him at running back in the spring. Took off from there. I think he'll get some carries. Javion Hunt, A.J. Green are 2 other freshmen. Josh Oglesby, who's a 10-2, 10-1 track star, came out last year. He may get some totes as well. And then 18th year senior T.J. Hammond. Who knows what's going to happen there. Another freshman to look out for, Ketron Jackson, the wide receiver, 6'2", 205. He has had a phenomenal fall camp. He's looking to be in that starting group right there. Oklahoma transfers to Quaylen Crawford. Also getting some reps with the first unit. O-line looks good. Everybody's back healthy. The biggest thing with Arkansas right now is their defense. They're able to run some more 4-man fronts this year, which I think will help put pressure on quarterback and help in the run game. They're able to run a 4-2-5, 4-3. They're very multiple with it. Of course, that nickelback Greg Brooks is back for his 3rd year. Then that secondary with Jalen Catalon, Joe Fouché, Ladarius Bishop, Monteric Brown. Those guys it's one of the most athletic secondaries that Arkansas has had in the past 5-7 years. I think they'll be pretty good this year. So everything's looking good right now at Arkansas. No major injuries. Ricky Stromberg is back. He was down with the MCL strain at center. Of course, he's first team all conference. It's looking good right now. So, we're excited. Rice is next week. And who do y'all open up with, Jake?
Miami.
I was a U fan.
The U.
The U. Funny story real quick. Arkansas, and that was the first game I ever went to. It was 1987. Arkansas and Miami were playing. And, of course, that was when Jimmy Johnson was there. It was the massacre on Markham. I think it was 51-7. It was bad. It was really bad. And Arkansas was good. They were really good. Went to a bowl game that year. And then the next year we went down to Coral Gables and almost beat them. It was 18-16.
Wow.
On our way to the Cotton Bowl. So I had when they came back in 91, it was a funny story. We're sitting in War Memorial Stadium, holds 55,000 people. And I had a Miami jersey made because I was a big U fan. They were winning. Arkansas wasn't. I'm 9-10 years old. I don't care. So I was going to wear my Miami jersey in there. Never seen people yell at a 10-year-old, but they did. So
I'm sure.
I still think De'Aaron King is out of his mind thinking that they're going to beat y'all, but we'll see. I think the Tide will do the talking with their feet and their pads.
That rumor got put out that he said that, but then it got tweeted. It got tweeted out and got put out on social media. And one person that ran with it was that College Football Trash Talk Nation. So I just wonder if it was a fake report. I never heard if it was or not, but the dude's got to be smarter if he did say that. You don't poke the bear, before you play him.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know if he really said that. I mean, that's almost like there was one that come out the other day that said that Brian Hartson was going to beat Alabama this year at Auburn. Okay. But it is a Jordan
He has to say that. It's his job. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think, it's just like when they asked Bo Nix if he was scared of Alabama. I mean, he can't just go out there and say, "Oh, I'm terrified of Alabama." No.
Yeah.
I just some of these quotes are just ridiculous. They just try to stir the pot, But yeah. Would you like to answer that question there, Kevin? How come Oklahoma's only, and Arkansas only played 14 times?
They have never scheduled OU for and that's what's really weird. I thought about that too. But we play them in baseball every year. We play them in basketball non-conference quite a bit.
Yep.
But in my lifetime, we've only played them in bowl games. I was at the 01 Cotton Bowl where they beat us 10-3.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 33 degrees that morning, and that was Matt Jones' freshman year. He Oklahoma was really good. I think they were 10-2 coming into the game, and we snuck in, or they were 9-2. I think he only played 11 games back in 01, and we were 7-4 and won 5 games down the stretch just to get bowl eligible.
Wow.
But that we've never scheduled them. That's been it hasn't been a rule that we haven't. It's just one of those things. We were really never on the same level, and I'm be honest with you. You're not on that level. Don't take a bashing. Don't take a beating, especially back when you only had 11 games
Right.
in a schedule season for regular season. You got to get those 3 non-conference wins, and we were taking beatings by USC, Texas.
Oof.
Let's see who else. We scheduled Notre Dame. That didn't work. At TCU, we scheduled Texas
Mm-hmm.
Tech. I think everybody but Oklahoma in the Big 12 we've played non-conference.
Wow.
And the other thing is that the teams that were in the Big 12 that were in the Southwest Conference, I think we were more apt to schedule those guys than we were the old Big 8 guys, which is understandable. We've never really played the Oklahoma schools in non-conference, so that's just been, there hasn't been a long-standing tradition or anything, especially like, in-state schools. We've never played Arkansas State. That's been a long debated topic, which the walls are falling down on that because we played them in baseball. We're going to play them in basketball. So great question. If I get to talk to Hunter Yurachek, we did interview him last week on the Hog Talk. I'll ask him next time if there's any plans to schedule OU in the future.
Well, if they move over, I mean, could be in the same conference.
Anyway.
Yeah, but we'll move on. Now we're going to, how do you see the SEC West playing out this year?
So top to bottom, I've got Alabama 11-1. I've got Texas A&M at 10-2. Ole Miss 9-3. LSU 9-3. Arkansas 6-6 with a 7-5 ceiling. And then Auburn 6-6, and then Mississippi State 4-8 or 5-7. That's kind of how I see it working out. The thing with Alabama and why they don't go 12-0 is, and I think they lose a conference game. I think a young quarterback, and I know they've had young quarterbacks before, Jalen Hurts, Tua, all that. It just, I don't know. It just feels different, I think. And I think the fact that Saban has had to change his staff so many times that he's liable to slip up one time. He's had two seasons where he's went undefeated, 09 and last year. Am I right on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's bound to slip up somewhere sometime. History's shown that. A&M, I think if they figure out the quarterback situation, I think they're right there competing for a title. Brian Harsin is going to experience some trouble on the Plains this year. They're gonna miss Gus Malzahn, I think. And then I still think Ole Miss has to shore up some things on defense. I think the athletes are there. It's just a matter of if they're going to be able to get them off the field enough, because I think they'll score, they'll average 41, 42 points a game and put up 500, 550 yards. That's what I told Steven when we first talked about it. I said they're gonna put up points, they're gonna score, they're gonna have the yardage. And then LSU, the quarterback situation, Brantley coming back, who knows? They're going to have a good defense. They're going to be better there. I just think the magic's not there to where they can make that run. But they'll be in every game and be favored in most of them, except for A&M and Alabama. So that's how I see it. Shaping up this year. I don't think it's too different from a lot of national analysts, media, prognosticators, whatever you want to look at. I'm a realist with Arkansas. I'm not going to say they're going to win 9 games. I think that's ridiculous. I think the best that they can do, if you sweep your non-conference, and that's an if because we do play Texas week 2, that puts you at 4-0. And then Auburn and Mississippi State, I see those wins, and then they may beat somebody they're not supposed to. And that could show up a lot at the end of the season if they're 7-5. And I think that's best case scenario. What about you? What do you see it shaping up, Jake?
I'm not being a homer, but
They're okay. It's okay at this point.
No, it's just my thing about Alabama. For one, we still have Nick Saban calling the shots.
Yeah,
You know, and yeah, we haven't gone undefeated every single year. But I mean, that defense is probably going to be better, as good or better than the 2016 defense. And that was our best. That was his best defense. And his,
yeah,
so, I mean, I may be way too high on that, but that's just how I feel. Now, I'm not the best, Pete Golden fan. I would be on record for that. I've called for his job for a long time now. I'd never like to hire, but I mean, he's got a chance to prove it this year. He's loaded at every defensive position that he needs to be loaded at.
yeah.
And if he can't get the job done this year, then it's writing on the wall pretty much.
Yeah, when you have 8 all-conference players, you better be good.
Exactly. So, but also, I'm also a realist knowing that this day and age of football, defenses are not going to go out and stop opponents to 8, 7, 8, 9 points every game. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if Alabama can stay within the 15, 17 to 20 range, giving up points per game, they're going to be fine. I think that they was kind of like that last year, give or take a little bit. Another thing is about A&M. A&M, we had a talented quarterback. We had a very talented team. A&M had a talented team last year, and they had their best quarterback in their history. I mean,
well, he was there for 8 years. He better have been good last year.
I mean, he put up career numbers there. So yeah, he was there. He was like Hunter Renfrow type. He was there for 50 years. But
Renfrow at Clemson. Yeah,
right.
He was there for a good decade.
But Alabama beat them by 24 points still.
Yeah.
Now this year we do have to go. Actually, they come to us, I believe. We went there last year.
It's there October 9th, I think. Yeah.
So we've got Ole Miss at home, we got A&M at home. So that's why I think we edged them two out, and I think Alabama goes undefeated because I don't really see anybody besides them two giving us fits. Or LSU at LSU, maybe, and at Jordan Hare. There's always,
anything can happen.
Yeah, I know, but I just think Alabama gets past those two since it's at home. And plus, Saban has never lost to any of his former coach, disciples.
Yeah, assistants. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think A&M will finish 11-1, Ole Miss 10-2. LSU, I believe, will go 8-4. They kind of get back on the right track. I just don't think they have enough talent to fight to beat like Alabama, A&M, Ole Miss. But they're back.
They'll beat who they're supposed to beat. Yeah.
Right. I'm one of these, and I've. I've said it to you before, Kevin. I'm high on Arkansas. I got them 7-5.
Yeah.
So and Auburn, I call them bums because I can't stand Auburn. But anyway, they're 7-5, I believe. Mississippi State's 4-8. I just think give Leach 2 more years and he'll be where he needs to be.
Do you really think the air raid will work in the SEC?
It remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gets the right quarterback for it, maybe, but I just don't know.
But is he gonna stay? Is he gonna recruit and develop one, or is he always gonna go to the transfer portal and try to say, okay, this is the type of guy I think I need,
right?
Until he steps on campus. We saw that last year. I just don't think you can take a transfer and put him in that system and say, okay, be great.
Yeah, you're right. And I agree with that remark. Lincoln Riley's air raid will work, but not Leach's.
Yeah, and it's a modified version because Lincoln will run the ball. He's not hard headed. He's gonna take what the defense gives you. He's kind of like Lane Kiffin. Their offenses are very similar.
Yeah.
If you break it down and look at their concepts, especially how they use the screen game, I think they're very similar. And it'll be very interesting to see. They'll be 2 of the top 5 offenses in the nation this year. So, Heisman dark horses in the conference. This is our bonus segment before we bounce out tonight. Give me a Heisman dark horse from the West.
Another one of those bold prediction of mine that I have said, or I said on our podcast a few weeks ago. I'm saying Bryce Young is going to be a dark horse Heisman.
I like that.
You
I
know,
like that. I'll
he's got a lot of pressure on him, but I think he delivers. A lot of eyes are going to be on him because I mean, of course, he is the quarterback at Alabama,
yeah.
but I think he handles it. It's going to be I think it's going to be a struggle. A couple games. I think one of the scrimmages he went 12 of 29, but he was going against that first team defense.
Yeah.
So and he had 2 touchdown passes in with those 12 receptions. So I take that against that defense.
I agree. So he's first team All SEC, but he's not being mentioned. But I think Spiller from A&M.
That's a good one.
He was very impressive last year. Anytime he was on the field, they were on him. They were planning for him, even though they had Kellen Mond back there. I think he's dynamic. I think he's a game changer, and I think they will rely on him a lot with breaking in a new quarterback. They're going to slow the game down. Jimbo Fisher, he's a very good offensive mind. He's a great offensive mind. He's one of the best in the business. So he's gonna load up and dominating offensive line. They got the top overall prospect in the 2022 class put A&M in his top 3 today. So he's doing the right thing in College Station. But I think Spiller, and it's the era of the quarterback. We know that with all the stats, everything up there. But if a running back can break through this year, I think Spiller can.
Yeah, I agree. And my wife would like to say she's glad to see that you're getting better.
Appreciate
and of course, she put the Roll Tide Roll on there. So
there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, I love Spiller too. That's a very good pick. So that's good. Real quick.
Yeah.
We was talking about the betting odds earlier.
Yeah.
And I believe I saw Steven mention it on Twitter a few days ago, but Auburn opens up as a 37-point favorite right now over Akron. Well, would you take that, or would you, how do you see that playing out?
I don't think they'll cover it. I think it'll be a 30-point game, but I just don't think they're going to be clicking on all cylinders the way Harsin wants. Bigsby can score 4 touchdowns by himself. It remains to be seen with Bo Nix. I think that is a high, and as bad as Akron is, I think that's a really high number to cover in the first week under a new head coach.
Yeah, I was looking up at Akron's, preview for their season this year, and I didn't realize they are horrible. They've got a lot of, they got a lot of growing to do out there.
Yeah, they do.
they only average 14 points per game outside, without adding the Kent State game, and I think it was a Bowling Green game. They said that I think got pushed them up to like 17 points per game, but they only averaged 281 passing yards. Oof, that's rough.
So Alabama right now is 17.5-point favorite. Do you see that cover?
Oh, I think Alabama's going to win by 30. So listen, everybody, hit the over. I'm telling you,
get the over.
I mean, I don't see Alabama is going to score. I mean, they may score 1, but on that defense, good luck.
Yeah. LSU, UCLA. LSU's a 4.5-point favorite. I think they'll cover there. Georgia and Clemson. Clemson is a 4-point favorite. I think that's very interesting.
That is. That's tough right there.
Let's see. Arkansas and Texas. They've already got on the board.
Oh, nice.
Texas 4.5-point favorite. That's shocking right there. Yeah.
I'm taking Arkansas in that game.
Yeah. Auburn and Penn State's already on the board. Penn State 7.5 points. Each week we'll go through and give our picks for the week. Please don't take that to the bank or bet the mortgage on it. I was a 66% picker on Tally Site last year. That was a prediction company platform that they get a lot of analysts from around the nation, all the ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Athletic. guys are on there. It's a neat site to go to. You can get some insight from guys. Usually, you can get the base stuff subscription free. So it's a free site where you can go check out. You don't have to pay to get behind a paywall to check out some stuff. I put my stuff on there. I went on a run during basketball season. Kept picking the score. I picked the score spread right in 3 straight games for the Hogs in March Madness. So that was my highlight of my picking game, so to speak. So, yeah, I think that's it for us this week, Jake.
Yeah. And if you don't have anything else to add, guys, if you would, follow us. You can sit down there. You can follow, Positively Ole Miss, of course. You can follow Steven on Twitch, as you see. Believe in the Dogs podcast. Follow us there. Follow me. Follow my podcast. It's Tide Talk Podcast. I'm at Jake Thomas TTS. Kevin, where can they find you at?
At the Hog Talk. That's our podcast. Drops every Wednesday right now. We'll be going back to 2 shows a week starting next week on Monday and Friday. You can any platform that's on, and then on Twitter, Coach Cabo _HTP.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all do it on Monday, and so you don't interfere with us over here on Best of the West. So
yeah, we got it all planned out.
That's right. That's how we do it. We normally record either on a Wednesday or Thursday night on Tide Talk, so we're good. But anyway, Kevin, good to have you back as always. Everybody in the chat, thank you for your input and the questions. And if we didn't get one, come back next week and put it on there. We'll hit it. But next week is the week of game days, boys. So
that's right. We get to review some games next week and talk about them.
That's right. I'm excited. So for Jake and Kevin, thank y'all. Appreciate it. Steven, thank you behind the scenes for all that you do. And guys, we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Blue Pig.